What's up, YouTube? Jason, the Wisdom Junkie. Hope the day has greeted you well. Smoking some Centenary in my Ronaldo pipes. 100-degree Arizona day. I'm gonna help you. You're gonna help me work in my garden today. Today we're dealing with melons. No, not the good fun melons. We're not playing with those, but we're gonna try and trim up some of these vines so all the energy goes into focusing on creating bigger melons. So I've been studying on thinking a lot about Buddhism lately, specifically secular Buddhism, and the Buddha, not really focusing on God or whether there is or is not a God. For the Buddhists, it's irrelevant. It's a question that is not even worth pursuing because, in their view, it can't really be answered either way. So they rather focus on whether or not life is worth living, and so how, given that the nature of life and the nature of reality for all human beings and for plants and animals is that life is suffering. It's an endless state of suffering. And the goal is to end it, or to at least mitigate it to the best of our ability. Life is suffering. It's probably one of the most profound things anybody has ever said in the history of mankind, in my opinion. And it's true. Life is suffering. So, what we have to wrap our brain around is the idea that, yes, life is suffering. It's just simply a fact. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. We have to have suffering in order for us to live, to move forward, to progress.
Would you, Papa?
Yep. And without it, we would simply just sit around and meditate all day, trying to avoid suffering. We wouldn't create technology. We wouldn't create creature comforts. We wouldn't find better ways to feed ourselves. But there's also the bad kind of suffering, which you want to try and mitigate. Buddhists say, well, the best way to do that is through mindfulness. To stop constantly trying to be otherwise. And all we have is now and here. And the nirvana. Now, this is nirvana. 100-degree heat. Suffering. And to go into that suffering. Because that's all there is. And to find ways to be at peace with it. Whether it's painful or not. The Buddhists would have us eliminate desire altogether, recognizing that desire is really the cause of all suffering, and that's true. The Four Noble Truths: life is suffering, there is a cause, and there is a way out of it. But that's just a theory. And it's not, the reality is you can never just stop desiring things, stop suffering altogether. You just can't do it. Suffering is needed. But it's your attitude towards what is, towards the suffering, that will help you lead a more peaceful and tranquil life while we're here, or as long as we're here, or as long as we're not here, in this transitory, impermanent world that we live in. So I think Buddhism, what the Buddha had to say at the most fundamental level, it's about as wise and profound as you can possibly get. Life, by its very nature, is suffering. From the moment we are painfully removed from our mother's wombs to trying to struggle our way through just existing, we just wake up with this piece of, we're a piece of meat that are suddenly self-aware. We don't know how we got here. We don't know why. We just know we're here. So how now do we live? What? She suffers because she's being bothered by buggies. How shall now she live? Accept the bugs for what they are. Align yourself with the nature of things. Bugs do what bugs do. And either you can be okay with that, or you can drive yourself insane at the idea that bugs are here. Well, I choose to align myself with what is. In order for me to try and live a more peaceful life and tranquil life amidst the suffering that is inevitable.